So the first video is basically from the transfer flight. So we landed in Ethiopia and we were then getting the plane to Tanzania, to which then we were getting on the minibus, which was an experience in itself because the speed bumps there are about yay big and in 3 consecutive ones. But they're on the dual carriageway kind of thing, so you're doing 70 miles an hour and then you're flying over a speed bump. I think most of us ended up with back injuries before we even started on the trek. The transfer was incredible for me because I've never been to Africa before, so seeing kind of the amount of people that were sort of like on the side of the road. There was lots of markets, people selling all kinds of things, just animals everywhere. I did think I was hallucinating at one point when I saw a tortoise fall off the back of a bike, a massive tortoise at that, but one of the other trekkers saw it as well, so thank God it wasn't just lack of sleep making me hallucinate. You're driving along and you've literally just got shacks, rows and rows of shacks. So yeah, so from a rental point of view, I probably struggle slightly.
So this is the hotel. I'm not gonna lie, I'm thinking it's more appealing to maybe spend a week here than climbing up the mountain, but you know.
It was proper sort of thatched roofs, so green. It was just absolutely beautiful. Rooms were really authentic, so wood everywhere. The electricity kept going off pretty much every hour kind of thing. The bar was kind of open planned, which was lovely, so I thought I'd try the local brew, Kilimanjaro lager, and then spotted a couple of camels just in the hotel grounds, to which I wasn't sure if the beer was just really, really strong and I was slightly drunk, but I was assured that they were camels and I, again, wasn't hallucinating. I think there was part of me that kind of thought, oh, I could spend 10 days here, that'd be lovely. But it was great to get a good night's sleep before the trek. I don't think any of us really knew what was going to come our way. I mean, sort of after day one, I mean, I was really on my knees thinking, I don't think I'm going to get through the rest of the trek. But then, because we knew how great the hotel was, I think when we knew and we were finishing the trek, we were like, oh my goodness, you know, we'd get a shower, they had a swimming pool there if we wanted to go for a swim. So it was quite a nice incentive to know we were going back to such a nice hotel, and the people were so friendly as well, and the beer was very good, and very cheap actually, so my favourite thing, cheap beer.
So this is the start of our trek. This is our group. And that's where we're headed, in that general direction, I think. We walked up this little bit and I'm already a little bit tired.
I was like, God, you know, that's going to be quite hard just to get off the first bit. And then I could have had to catch my own thought and think, you're climbing a mountain here and you're going up, you know, nearly 6,000 metres up. It's going to get a bit steeper than this. And I was already thinking, God, that's knackering just looking at it rather than walking up it. We must have been 4 hours or so in and we stopped for our first break. And I kind of remember looking around thinking, how is everyone else not absolutely sweltering? I was sweating buckets. And I was just thinking, this is the first kind of morning. I was like, we're not even at lunchtime yet.
Oh, amazing. Oh, hello, buddy. So, that's my tent. Toilet.
When we set up camp, the porters were incredible. So we literally got to camp and the mess tent was set up, had popcorn, hot tea and coffee ready for us. The food was great quality, really hearty food, like vegetable stews, but so flavoursome. It was just, I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. I was really thinking the food was going to be awful and that I'd really struggled to keep fueled for the whole trek, but it was easy to eat the food and the porters were just so incredible, so friendly, so helpful. So yeah, so day 2, official trek day 1, was just so tough, so tough. And I think there was quite a few of us that did think, we're not going to get through this.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
That's happy campers here.
Morning, campers.
Morning. Cam in the back. There you go.
Trek day 2, which was the Monday, after the first day of trekking, I was sort of not head down, but I was feeling a little bit kind of defeatist, maybe thinking, oh God, this is going to be so hard. I was chatting with a lady called Julie, who was really helping me kind of just to keep my morale up, and it was nice because when we were talking, she kind of said how hard she found day one as well, so I was a bit like, oh good, so it wasn't just me then. But it was just a really nice day. By the end of it though, it did, the mist came in, and when the mist came in, it brought with it kind of like it wasn't like rain, but it was just damp, so it felt like it was like a misty kind of wetness. So I was really pleased that I got to camp just as that was all coming in. But camp on day 2 made me just think of it looked like the surface of the moon. It was bizarre, just with all these tents everywhere, but it just looked really quite barren. But day 2 was a good day for me. I really enjoyed that. And I think because it felt like we were really moving forward. I mean, we had some incredible descents, and I mean, it was just ridiculous. I mean, some of the footage you'll see, I'm kind of stood in one point and I'm trying to film over to where we got to get to. By day 2, it kind of became real for me that I could do it. I think day 1 it was just like I think it's when you jump in really cold water and you're like, kind of, oh my God, this is so cold, I want to get out. But then once you've been in it for a while, you kind of get used to it and you're like, well, actually, no, I'm doing all right, and just leave it a bit longer, and kind of like, I really found my pace and I was enjoying it.
So there's summit, which is pretty cool. And this is camp. You can see the frost on the ground. Just packing up, ready to have breakfast.
We were up really early, and we were basically trying to trek all, I think it was about till 1 or 2 o'clock to get to the lava tower. The bonus, I think, from all of us, because we were knackered just getting to lunchtime, it was starting to get a bit drizzly, the mist again was coming in, but we'd had a hot lunch that day and it was spaghetti bolognese, and it was by far probably the best spaghetti bolognese I've ever eaten, because it just gave all of us, I think, a real boost. And I mean, trekking in the mist, and it's not, it just felt like it was just never going to end.
I'm not sure if this is going to come on video, but it is pretty misty now. So this is the view out of my tent. That's Grace, just walking in short. But that is what we're going to be climbing over tomorrow.
They were like, you've got to climb up that tomorrow morning, and we need to be up on that. It's sort of, I think it was about 6:30 in the morning. And I remember sitting there going, how the bloody hell am I going to climb up such a high wall, basically? But as per always, with the guides and with our leader, we did it. It was poly, and we managed to get through each thing, even though I was looking at it going, how are we meant to climb up, a cliff face, basically, without ropes or spikes?
So it's, I think about 6:30 on Wednesday. So this is where we're climbing up this thing here, which should take us 2 hours. And we've got a 9-hour trek today, and then it's summit night. Not gonna lie, I didn't think I'd even get this far after day 1, so yeah, we're doing well.
Some of the descents were so steep, and then obviously the ascents to get up, I mean, were even worse. I mean, this part of the film just shows, I mean, we were walking straight down, along a little bit, and then straight up again. And that was where lunch was. Lunch was over that bit, and we were just like, all just looking at each other going, we just want lunch. I just have lunch now, but we had to get over the top of it. But then when we did it didn't feel like it had been that big a deal, because we look back at it and go, oh, yeah, it's quite far away, but it wasn't that hard. So, yeah, it was incredible.
Here you go, Dad, this one's for you.
It's funny, my dad gave me the cap to take with me, and the Spurs motto is "To dare is to do," and the amount of times I kept looking at that cap going, "To dare is to do, to dare is to do," and it almost became my mantra, because I was just like, this is so tough, and there was elements of it where I just thought, God, I'm not going to get to where I want to, and I was like, to dare is to do, lead by example. And there's part of me where I was thinking, I don't want to come back and say to Darren, I didn't make it, or to come back and say to Sue, I'm really sorry I didn't get to the top. And also to my mum and dad and the girls that work with me, I wanted to show them that with hard work and pure grit, you can pretty much achieve anything. and also for me, you know, I wanted to prove to myself that, you know, no matter what and how hard things are, actually, you know, I've got some serious balls where I can I say that? I have anyway. But I've got some serious balls in order to go, right, I can dig deep when I need to. So I took a hell of a lot away from it, but we got to summit night now and we're just having a cup of tea before we set off, and God, it's weird, my heart's going already just watching the film because I haven't seen it for a couple of weeks. But it's literally, I was just asking everybody to give me one word and of how they were feeling before we set off.
Smashing.
Smashing. And come on.
Tired.
Tired.
Scared. Unsure. A little bit anxious.
Head torch, which I can't see.
Full.
Well,
Determined.
determined.
Hopeful.
Nice, Will.
Enthusiastic.
Sweet. Mark.
Cosmic.
Nice. Grace.
Look at the stars again, man.
Nervous. Doc.
Splendid.
Excited.
The first bit of filming that I actually even managed to do on the trek up to summit was when sunrise was coming up. It was just so hard even getting to that point. I mean, I think I was asleep for about an hour just being dragged up by my guide Eric, and I think every one of us would say that without our amazing guides, I don't think half of us would have got to the top. I mean, they were, when our backpacks became too heavy, they took them off of us. When we were getting a bit delusional from lack of sleep, they would hold our hand and get us to the top. They were making sure we were drinking and eating. They were absolutely fantastic.
Right, well, I haven't actually done any filming for the whole of the climb because I've been absolutely, excuse my language, but thanks to Eric, who was my hero, we are not quite there, but we're almost there.
For me, the most emotional part of it, and you'll kind of see from the video, is when I got to Stella Point, and I was absolutely just sobbing like a baby. I was the first one to get up to Stella Point, thanks to Eric, who got me up there because I think he knew I just needed to sit down. So I tried to film everyone else making it to Stella Point, but I was just sobbing, absolutely just crying like a baby. I think it hit me then that we'd actually done it.
This is Stella Point, and we've still got 45 minutes to go before we make actual summit. That has been the hardest thing I think I've ever experienced in my whole life. But look how beautiful it is. So, this is what the summit of Kilimanjaro looks like.
When we got to actual summit and you saw the sign, it just seemed to melt away for the 10 minutes that we were up there. I think everyone just kind of felt absolutely on top of the world and like we had achieved, and we had achieved the most amazing thing. To get there as quite a tight group, I mean, for me, we did have quite a lot of our group that were with us when we all got there. So we're all taking our photos together and team pictures and stuff, which was fantastic. But yeah, I took it all in and it'll be a memory that stays with me for the rest of my life. So yeah, it's incredible.